Well, welcome to this broadcast of Transformational Leadership. What I wanted to do is I wanted to take some time today and introduce you to this whole concept of transformational leadership. When we talk about leadership styles, there's a myriad of leadership styles. When I'm involved in a interview, if I've got a client that asks me to sit down and help them run through individuals that are interviewing for a position with their firm, one of the questions that I ask all the time is, what is your plan for personal growth? You cannot be a transformational leader unless you have a plan for personal growth. That's the essence of what transformational leadership is. Now, we encounter servant leadership, we encounter autocratic leadership, passive leadership. The list goes on. I can't even list all of those leadership styles. And when I interview people on my podcast, Life of Leadership, one of the questions that I always ask is, what is your leadership style? And even though I'm asking leaders what their leadership style is, I'm not so sure that I often get, well, I am specific, this type of a leader, because it has a lot to do with an individual's personality and where they tend to go. So they normally explain to me what their leadership style is, and I'm fine with that. But what I want to do today is I wanted to talk to you about transformational leadership and the theory behind it. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to walk you through the first couple of slides that I do when I give this presentation, 5 pillars of transformational leadership. And the first slide that I use, it says, embrace the journey. You know, I love reading about Navy SEALs, and I love reading about Spec Ops, and I love our service men and women a lot. And I hear a lot when I read these and I talk to people, embrace the suck. You got to embrace the suck. As a matter of fact, I was sitting down one time with a Navy SEAL, and I said to him, his name is Chris, and I said, Chris, you know, there are several things that you as Navy SEALs do during your buds, all right. So when your first out of the block training, there's some things I can do. I can swim, maybe not in the ocean, but you know, I can run, I can do things. But what I don't think that I can do is sit down in the Pacific Ocean, right? Seal Beach is over there in San Diego, and sit down in this frigid water and allow the waves to run over my head, and the waves go out and the waves go over my head. I feel cold, then I feel wet, then I can't breathe. How do you do that? And what Chris McKinley said to me was, Bob, you just embrace the suck. He said, there's a couple of things that you have to understand. First of all, you can't go to the beach. You have to be present. You have to be involved in the pain that you're going through. The minute you go to the beach, the minute that you start thinking of a warm shower, and he said, and that's what the drill sergeants are yelling at him. You know, if you get out of the water, I'll give you a warm cup of coffee. But you have to stay present where you're at. You have to embrace the suck. So I've got this whole thought process behind embracing the journey, right? I love what Oprah Winfrey says. She said that she's been through a lot of stuff, I'll use that word, in her life that she wished she hadn't gone through, right? Some pain. But she said, it created the person that I am today. So going through that pain, going through that gauntlet, right? The Marines call it the gauntlet. Going through these this fire, this forging that happens in our life creates who we are. So embracing the journey. Transformational leadership is about embracing the journey, not looking back, living in the moment, not being depressed about what happened in the past, not being anxious about what happened, what's going to happen in the future, but embrace it. Embrace the cold water hitting you, live in the moment and have a plan. So If we go on to the next slide, here you go. This is a definition of what transformational leadership is. And it's interesting that James Burns came up with this theory in 1978, which is really when I began my journey of what I'm doing today as a result of an experience that I had with a basketball coach. And I'll share that story with you because it changed my life. It's part of my journey. So Gene Leonard had men's basketball coach at Brookside High School in 1978. I was a high school student. I was a sophomore. I was walking out of the locker room. He was walking into the locker room, and he was holding a basketball rim and two basketballs under his arm. And I said, Gino, because we called him Gino, what are you doing? He said, well, Bob, he said, if I show the basketball players that two basketballs can fit through this rim at the same time, when they're shooting, they're going to be feeling like they're shooting into the Pacific Ocean. It's a lot bigger. That rim is a lot bigger than what you think. And if you give them a close-up look at it, then they're going to embrace that. They're going to understand, hey, look, two balls can fit in there at the same time. Now, if you try that today, it's not going to work as well. If you take the girls, the women's basketballs, they'll both go in at the same time, but the men's basketballs, they grew a little bit. And they don't quite fit together at the same time. So that was an experience in 1978. And Gene Leonard said, Bob, there's this book out, and the name of the book is Psycho-Cybernetics, written by Maxwell Maltz. I went out and got the book, and it changed my life. And the reason why I do what I do today, in some part, is as a result of going through that book, Psycho-Cybernetics, and understanding the power that we have within us to achieve what we want to achieve. Along with this, what I do is I teach spinning, and this is in alignment with this whole idea of transformational leadership. And in my spinning classes, most of the time, I play two songs. The first song that I play is Glory Days. They'll pass us by, Glory Days. Right, Bruce Springsteen. And what I do is I tell everybody in the class, look, Glory Days, that's the past. We don't want to focus on that. We're going to put this song here because we want to realize that we want to make today a glorious day. Don't spend time thinking about the past. Transformational leaders learn from the past. They don't focus on it, right? They don't focus on the past. They don't think of the glory days. And then I typically end with the song by Billy Joel. The name of the song is Piano Man. Piano Man is a song about Billy Joel's life. He played the piano in a bar, and he talks about Davy, who's still in the Navy and probably will be for life. He's talking about these individuals at the bar that have a vision of what they want to accomplish, yet they never get out of their comfort zone. I call it a cocoon. They stay within this cocoon and they live there because it's easy, right? They don't come out of the cocoon. So if we have this whole idea, this concept of the cocoon, and we think of a caterpillar creating a cocoon that's going to come out as this beautiful butterfly, it's going to transform itself into a butterfly. But if the caterpillar never comes out of the cocoon, it doesn't have the chance to be what it was created to be. And it's the same way with us. Unless we come out of our cocoon, we're not going to become who we were created to be. Now, as soon as that caterpillar emerges from the cocoon, it's not a beautiful butterfly right away. It actually has to unfurl its wings and it has to dry off. So it is right there, food or bait to a bird that wants to eat it. And that's the same way we are. When we come out of our cocoon, we are uncomfortable. I'll tell you what, transformational leaders are, they want to practice being comfortable about being uncomfortable. They're going to start being comfortable about being uncomfortable. So transformational leaders put themselves into situations that make them uncomfortable. Okay. So transformational leaders will step outside of that cocoon. Now, transformational leaders are able to motivate and inspire followers and direct positive change in groups. So this is characteristics of those transformational leaders. And the reason why they're able to motivate others is because they've been through the journey. They've been there, right? Um, you're probably not going to go whitewater rafting in serious whitewater without a guide, because that guide knows how to navigate those rocks that are in the middle of the river that are making the white water. If you've ever experienced being flipped out of a boat in white water, you can appreciate the fact that you have a guide. Transformational leaders are the guides. They're able to walk people through and motivate them because they've been there. They've been through the journey and they've processed through that. And as a result, they inspire others. When you sit down in a raft with a guide, they instruct you, they inspire you. They're like, we're going to attack that white water. I want you, when I say paddle on the left, everybody on the left paddle. If I say paddle forward, you paddle forward. If I say paddle back, I say paddle back. Left side, right side. You get the instruction, you get the vision. So these guides, like transformational leaders, create this vision. And what we want to do is we want to listen to that. We want to listen to those guides tell us. And that's what transformational leaders do. They supply a vision. In our next video, I'm going to talk about pillar number 1, which is leaders show up. And we're going to talk about vision. All right. So if you want to reach out to me, text me 440-506-6138. You can email me, bob@highperformanceteams.coach. I am here to help. Hopefully you are going to have an awesome day and you step outside of your